Welcome, welcome on this rainy day. Bravo to you all for coming out here. We really appreciate it. So there is an ancient faith and a trust and a compact that says we are each other's keeper. And I believe that our communities either rise or fall based on that compact. And if we want our communities to rise, we have got to be a voice for human dignity. We have to end human suffering. And now is the time to raise our voice, to work harder, to think better, to move and to act. This is the time to do it. About 2 years ago, Ben and the Samaritan House team, Aaron, Chauncey, Robert, folks that are here, they completely transitioned that emergency shelter into a place of healing and restoration. About 2 years ago, we took on a rapid rehousing program called Home, a family voucher program for families with children who are homeless. Jess Graff, that community action team, they have housed so many families, so many children. It's been incredible work. About 5 months ago, we took on the family shelter that you're going to see today. Shannon and her team established our second domestic and sexual violence shelter for survivors. There's 8 families there right now. And then 2 days ago, I was just at the Champlain Place that was completely renovated, our emergency shelter there, expanded with a meeting house and with gardens, with guests, up to 42 guests, and a warming shelter for 26 people. And then on Friday, yesterday, I was at our new family shelter in Williston that we took on from the state because the state was going to end that family shelter. So, CVOEO is ready to act. You are here today. It inspires us for today and for tomorrow. And we promise you that we will not stop. We will continue to act until we end homelessness in Vermont. And we're so glad that you'll be with us here. Now, I would like to bring up Ben Kaufman, our director of the Samaritan House Family Shelter.
Hi, I'm Ben Kaufman. I'm the director of Samaritan House, and we operate Tim's House right down just here on Kingman Street. I want to thank you guys, especially for coming out and braving the weather today to come join us for this. You know, we started in their shoes a few years ago before we were even a program of CVOEO, and we specifically set it in the fall at that time to really emulate for people who are joining us just how much it can be a challenge to be on foot and try to meet your basic needs when you're also dealing with Vermont weather. And then people weren't coming out because it was bad weather, so we said, oh, we'll move it to May. It'll be beautiful and people will come. And that didn't totally pan out for us, but we really love and value this event. There are so many wonderful service providers working to meet people's needs in Franklin and Grand Isle counties and throughout Vermont. And all throughout the year, you know, people will come up to us, and I'm sure other presenters who are here, with questions about what people do and how I can get involved and how I can volunteer and what does somebody do if they're struggling with this or if this is their need. And so we thought this would be a really great way to highlight all the work being done to help people meet needs. So we are going to hear from people today who take care of shelter, like at Tim's house, and food, and who work specifically with youth, and people who work on substance abuse, and really just a giant array of needs. Because the clients that we work with, just like all of us, have a really complicated life, like we all do. And it's not just one thing generally that led someone to the experience of homelessness or poverty or hunger. It's usually a collection of those things. And people can't thrive and meet their full potential while those needs aren't being met. And as challenging as the work that, the people I'm looking at right now and the people that we work with daily, as challenging as that work is, we are really lucky in St. Albans and in Franklin and Grand Isle counties. Because when I talk to shelter providers in other parts of the state, in other parts of the country, they don't have this. They have to be everything to everyone. And we just feel so lucky here that I know that if somebody's involved with the criminal justice system, I can call Jess. And if somebody's really struggling with their mental health, I've got Danny over at NCSS. If people are hungry, we can send them to Martha's Kitchen or to Northwest Family Foods. And we can focus on housing and shelter. And I hope that the other people you're going to meet today feel the same way, that they don't have to be housing case managers and shelter providers. So we are really lucky, and today we just want you to get a couple of things out of this, and one is just to learn more about the different options and the different providers that we have here in this community. Two is to get a feel of how much it can be a challenge to meet all your basic needs when you're on foot. That's why we do this not in a vehicle, because the people we work with are walking to Tim's house and walking to Martha's Kitchen and walking to Voices. And lastly, we just want you to be empathetic, to realize how challenging this is, and it's a tough time in our society, and our clients are very smart people, and they feel the hatred sometimes, to use the right word, in our community, and the way people look at them and the way people treat them. And we hope that this day helps provide some empathy and some ability to just understand these are just people who are going through something like we all are, and it's time to treat people with kindness and respect. So is Shannon here? I do have Shannon. Fantastic. So we all work at these organizations with a lot of really inspiring people. It keeps us showing up every single day. It's just the successes that we see in the wonderful people that we work with. And Shannon is the program director at Voices Against Violence, and she is going to introduce one of the survivors that she's worked with to share a little more from that perspective.
Hi all. Thank you so much for coming today and braving the cold. My name's Shannon McMahon. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the program director of Voices Against Violence. We serve everyone in Franklin Grand Isle that's experiencing domestic violence, sexual violence, dating violence, stalking, trafficking, childhood harm. We recently, in February, opened a second shelter for survivors of violence and their children called Safe Roots Healing Collective. And we've been doing a lot of work building community and building more tools for folks to be less vulnerable to experiencing violence in our rural communities. And just knowing more options for their safety and their children's safety, and just more ways that we can work as a community together to help folks thrive. So since we opened, Kaylee and her son Dominic have moved in when we opened in February, and the experience has been really incredible. They both experienced a lot when they were home with Dom's father, and the way that Kaylee and Dom both came to the community were so empathetic of everybody else's experiences, shared their resources when folks needed it, had so much empathy for the other children that were there, engaged in the healing work, engaged in so much that we're really honored to have Kaylee come and just talk about her experience, because we're really thankful that she's been able to be part of this community when we opened it, and has really helped guide us to what we want to do in the future in this space. So I'm very, very honored to welcome Kaylee.
I've got two. I'm sorry, I didn't know which one to choose from, so I wrote two. My name is Kaylee Martin, by the way. I can show you. It's okay. I'm 28 years old, and I have a 4-year-old who is behind you guys. He's been the little guy running around like crazy. So the Safe First director, Shannon, asked me to come in and share a little bit about my experience of being homeless and what it was like. From the beginning, like, you know, before you're homeless, you think you have everything. I did. I thought I had everything. I had a beautiful home. I had a baby. It was honestly the world. You know, you think this stuff doesn't ever happen to you, and you think that it's, you know, I got this. I have everything I need. It's not gonna happen. But in the blink of an eye, with just, you know, one little thing, your life can change. I used to be the utmost happiest person in the world, and I met Mark Clapper back in 2019, and I was with him for 5 years. I thought I loved him, you know, he gave me my son, but the abuse started back in 2023. I can't pick you up, I'm sorry, buddy. And that's when I chose drugs. So it started progressively to get worse than that. The homelessness, I didn't think in the back of my head, like, you know, if I can do this, I can do this. Like, I felt like I was Superwoman. I had it all. And then I lost it. I lost my son for 5 months. My mom took him. I was in and out of tents. I was couch surfing. Anywhere that I thought that I could lay my head, I felt like I was invincible, and it didn't matter to me. I didn't think that there was anybody there that would help me at all. December 17th, the unmentionable happened. I did become homeless again. My son was kidnapped, was taken from me for almost 30 hours. I did not know where he was. And the first person that I reached out to was Voiceless. I contacted Economic Services, and they said, get a hold of Voices. Get a hold of Voices. The hotels are full. Voices called me, and they said that they did not have any room at the moment, but they were working on a new setup so that my son and I could feel safe and be safe. Within not even a week later, Maura called me. I love Maura, bless her soul. She said, hi Kaylee, we have a room opening up for you at our new shelter, and we want you and your son to come stay. We moved in at the end of February, and since then, it's not a sense of being homeless. Yes, we are homeless, but it's a roof over my head, it's a roof over my son's head, and we're safe. When I first walked in there, I was closed. I was closed. My heart was broke. I went through so much, shit. And my son was so damaged. Like he just didn't know what to do with his life. He's 4 years old, 4. And what child is gonna come up and tell you, you know, Mark isn't my dad because he tried to kill my mom. My 4-year-old will tell anybody that. Anybody. You ask him, who's your dad? I'm in a healthy new relationship now, and that is my son's father. He will tell you every day. He relives the same situation. He acts it out with dolls. Like, this kid has been through so much. Voices stepped in, and they made me feel like this is your outside, and this is your inside. You don't have to worry about that no more, because we are here to help you and help support you in what you need. They introduced me to CVOEO again. I got placed on coordinated entry. I am part of the Pathways program with Alyssa Stetson. She also helped me. I am actually scheduled to be in my own home by June 1st. So that's another thing. Honestly, I feel like people need to open up their eyes more, because not everybody's homelessness situation is the same. Some people go through stuff that they can't get out of, and not very many people see that. Like, for example, I was told if I ever left, my son could not leave with me, and if I walked out of that house, I was gonna get a bullet to the back of my head. So I did not leave. December 17th, when I walked in and my son was suspended 4 feet off that floor and was being choked out, that's all it took. He smashed me in my face, and he dropped me, and he picked up my son and he left. I called the cops, I called my dad. My dad was there quicker than the police. Come on, my dad lives in Swanton. We're talking about police, come on, right? Like, it's a family sense. It's a very It's overwhelming, but I know that I have support when I need it. And to be honest, I found the peace in my violence, and I wish people could walk in my shoes and not judge me based off what I did in my past. That's how I feel. Homelessness is real. It's a real thing, and people need to learn that. Sometimes people get out, other people don't, and that's not fortunate. It's fortunate for the people that want to do better and they want to learn new things and expand their horizon to get the help that they need. I'm 7 months sober. I have my son. I have a roof over my head. I have a boyfriend that absolutely adores my son. And I'm where I want to be. And that's how I feel. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylee. That's just so powerful, and you know, again, the clients that we work with are just amazing people. Like, we're lucky to get to do this work with people who are so strong and have such inspiring stories. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you know, we really value this whole community, and that's what we're going to do today is learn about the work that multiple people do together to make sure that people who need a leg up and who need to get back on their feet in our community get what they need. Very often, the folks that we work with are experiencing significant mental health issues. They have a lot of trauma, and that is about as challenging as work gets in this field. And so we're so lucky to have NCSS, and I've got Danielle Roberts here to talk just a little bit about the work that they do at NCSS. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben, and Kaylee, thanks for your vulnerability earlier. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us on another rainy weekend in St. Albans. This event's a powerful opportunity to step into the lives of those facing challenges like poverty, mental health struggles, and housing instability, and to reflect on the importance of empathy and understanding, as so many of us have said today. I'm Danielle Roberts, Community Relations Director at NCSS, and I'm proud to be a St. Albans native. At NCSS, we're committed to providing vital services while breaking down the stigma around seeking help, whether it's for mental health, developmental disabilities, or economic hardships. Our services span into three main areas: early childhood and school-based services, which supports families from the perinatal stage all the way through school age. Our developmental services, which empowers individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities to live independently and be active in their communities. And our community mental health service division, which offers therapy, crisis support, and compassionate care for individuals of all ages. Events like this, to me, show the strength of community collaboration. Being here today is an amazing showcase of all the collaborative work being done to support individuals and families in need. By working together, we can reduce the stigma and we can build a more resilient community. So thank you all for being here today, for standing together, and for walking for the community. You know, we don't have to do this alone, and as we all know, there's challenges here, so thanks for stepping up and being here today. Thanks, Ben.
All right, we're almost ready to get walking and warming up. We've got one more quick presentation here. We were supposed to have our friends at Vermont Adult and Teen Challenge here today. They weren't able to make it at the last minute, but I just want to put in a quick plug for them. They're a really wonderful organization. Vermont has a long way to go in providing adequate long-term substance use. Yeah, you can try. Nice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, what's going on?
Yeah! Nailed it.
Yes,
I wish I had that attitude about this weather myself, but that's inspiring. So anyway, Adult and Teen Challenge, a really wonderful program. We'll have them with us next year. We do have some people who have been through that program here and on our staff at Samaritan House, if you're interested in learning more about them. But in addition to mental health, all around, you know, Vermont does have a long way to go in providing sober living options, inpatient rehab options for people who are struggling with substance use. Many of us, including myself, have been through it, and it's not something that you just kick in a couple of weeks. And we've got a lot of work left to do. Facility a few years ago in Vermont, it seems like it's way more often for us to hear about cuts to services in the substance use field than additions. And so we were so happy to see, we got Kate Blue in here, who has been doing a ton of work in the last year to bring us some sober living options for women in this area, and I wanted to have her take just a couple of minutes and tell you about that really exciting initiative. Okay?
Thank you, Ben. I am terrified of microphones, but I'm working on that. My name's Kate Bluen. I'm a person in long-term recovery. I work here locally as a nurse for the long-term care Medicaid program as well. And it's been a 7-year probably mission, but I was told when I got out of treatment a long time ago that I should go and find a recovery house to live in that's near where I live. And I lived in Montgomery, Vermont at the time, and I was a single mom. And the closest one for me to go to was in Wyndham area, Serenity House, I believe. So that wasn't really lining up for me. And so I've been wanting to start a house, and I am in the process of starting. I started my own nonprofit called Hope Grove Recovery, and we hope to open a house this year for women. It's going to be a 5-bed with a live-in house manager, and it will be for women in early stages of recovery. And we're even kind of looking at potentially another house actually. So, you know, you start doing the work and people want to help, and I'm really grateful to be in this community and to support people who are early in recovery. So yeah, I just said I'd say hi and thank you for this opportunity. I think we don't know what people have gone through, and so being nice and kind to whoever you see, because you don't know what they're going through, is really important. So thanks for all being here.
Thank you, Kate. All right, guys, and with that said, let's get moving a little bit. So we really value in this day that we're gonna do what a lot of our clients do and get around town on foot to all the places that people need to go. And we are gonna start by heading up to Voices New Space, the Safe Roots Healing Collaborative on Fairfield Street. So I think we are ready to get going here. Let's move.
So at this shelter, we have 6 families here. We have 5 families upstairs, and then we have an apartment on the back. So folks can come here after fleeing domestic violence and then get whatever resources that they need, and really do a lot of opportunities for healing work here and education work. We do have a lot of intricate conversations while folks are living here about the dynamics of violence, what makes folks vulnerable to experiencing violence, and just how we can all be a safer community together, how we can all support each other together to be a safer community. It's an extension of the work that we've always done at Lori's house, but one really incredible piece about this space is the back, where we can have the community come, because it's completely separate from the shelter. We can have folks access this space and never access this space at all because of the way that it's closed through, because this used to be a bed and breakfast.
Shut the door because of things I'm gonna say to you. I don't want my boss to hear, because we're gonna have a really tough conversation right now, because that's what they need when you have a 16-year-old that's dropped out of school.
Closely with all of our community partners, when we go to here, refer to them and get referrals from them so that we can wrap around.